And we are live. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Happy Thursday
Hey.
night. Hey, Matthew.
How's it going?
It is going wonderful. And we have Nick with us. Nick, welcome.
Thank you.
We already have some people in the chat. Sam Schulman. I did not realize Sam's
Sam's
lived
been
in the
waiting.
Ohio area. So, oh, wait, he says Chattanooga.
Yeah, Chattanooga, Tennessee.
In
Yeah,
every state.
That's
They
not too
just-
far from me.
So yeah, Sam, Worcester's about an hour and a half from my house, or actually just an hour. So yes, lots of people. Sebastian's here, Sam's here. Hello.
That was awesome.
That is Korean. Hello, my Korean friends. I got to go there. So Mikey Ben's here and Kyle's here. So
All right.
everybody, welcome. We are going to have a really cool chat getting to know Nick tonight. He is NICK Leone. No relation to Chris.
No relation.
But welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Two Turtle Tom live show. Tonight, we have NICK Leone joining us, and Matthew Hoosier Turtles and Tortoises Hills is here again. And Matthew, you have some new equipment.
Yes, I have some headphones and a nice microphone.
So listen to that smooth
Look
voice.
at that thing.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
Thank
so
you for
that
joining
is
us tonight.
that is going to be
Smooth rock.
great. Yeah, I'll be able to hear you much better. And so Podrick just joined us, and Nick, you're from
All right.
you live in North Carolina, and you told me you're from upstate New York originally.
Upstate New York, yes.
But tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, like most people getting into reptiles, we start off watching Steve Irwin. He's a legend. And
totally.
spending time up at my grandparents' camp catching leopard frogs and painted turtles and snapping turtles and bringing them home is how it all started.
Awesome. Had some time in the field. That's always nice. Any
I think
wood turtles
everyone's
up there? Go ahead, Matt.
I think everyone's had that snapping turtle experience when they were a kid, right? We were scared to catch them, but we wanted to catch them. And they could have killed you.
Exactly.
At least chopped off your arm.
Oh yeah, easy. Yeah, I knew 3 or 4 boys the town over. They all lost their arm.
Yeah, totally. Well, how about wood turtles? Any wood turtles up that way?
Yes, but I haven't seen any, nor blandings or spotted turtles. Those are all up more towards Canada from where I was at.
Okay. Canada's been in the news, but unrelated to turtles, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And you were telling me a little bit beforehand when we were chatting a little bit that you're relatively new to the turtle world as far as keeping them.
Yes. So it all started, I think my Herman's tortoises, I posted on Facebook about a year and a couple months ago that I first got them. So it's been a short while. And
okay.
Here we are.
Your first? They were your first? Nice.
Trio of Herman's tortoise, Eastern Hermans.
You really can't. There's not much that beats, if anything, an Eastern Hermans tortoise. They're so hardy. They're so personable. They're gorgeous. They're just such a great, all-around tortoise. I recommend them to anyone.
They are fantastic. I mean, from my previous professions, Russians are the typical go-to, but I never knew of Easterns or Westerns until I started watching Chris Leone's videos. And then boom, Herman's blew up.
Yeah, they really have.
And no relation to Chris.
No relation.
Same last name, Leone.
He's lying.
Same pronunciation. Yep.
Yeah, he's lying. He's playing recon for Chris.
Yeah.
Who talks bad about Chris?
We've got a few more people in the chat. Podrex here, and Patrick Lee, and CNC Tortoises, and yeah. So thanks everyone for joining us, talking with Nick. So how'd you did you decide to get some tortoises? Did you do some research, or did you just happen upon some Herman's tortoises?
I mean, you get on YouTube and you go down the rabbit hole, like especially with reptiles. I mean, since I have crested geckos, I have the tegu, and other people who keep lizards typically keep other snakes or turtles or tortoises. Then you get more into videos with that. And I loved Chris's videos, and I loved Camp Kennan's videos, and seeing how personable some of them are. And my main goal with keeping turtles and tortoises here, especially down here in North Carolina now, is to be able to keep them outdoors naturalistically. So one of the reasons why I went with the Herman's tortoises is because you can do that. They are super hardy.
Yeah.
Where are you in North Carolina? Are you located like in the mountains, or in the Piedmont, or on the coastal plain?
I guess you would say Piedmont. I'm basically centrally located.
Yeah,
but I'm
totally.
Maybe an hour and a half from the Virginia border. So not super south, but
yeah.
I mean, temperatures here don't get nearly as cold as it does up in Ohio or New York. So
yeah, totally. It's fun when we go to the beach down to South Carolina or something like that, and you just watch a spring just keeps advancing. As you drive south, it just keeps getting more and more spring-like. Where in Ohio you leave snow, and so yeah, I think it'd be really cool to have a more southern climate. You've had them for about a year?
Yep.
What do you have them outside year round?
Yes. So last year, obviously, was the first year that I did it. I got them early in the year, so I was able to overwinter them. But I got a little nervous with the rain in their enclosure. So I ended up bringing them in for a little bit, especially during the rainy days where it was cold and wet. But they were outside for brumation for the majority of the winter.
Matthew, any tips for brumating your Herman's tortoises? Do you have any that you overwinter in Indiana?
Yep, mine stay outside year round. Just keep them dry. It's the biggest thing. Make sure they're covered. You can use a tarp. You can use a kiddie pool flipped upside down. I've done that. You can go as small as, depending on your group size, you can go as small as just concrete mixing tubs. I've done that where, I dig the hole, I fill it with shredded leaves and grass clippings, and then let them burrow down into that, and then cover it up about 2 feet, and then smash it down with the concrete mixing tub, and then pile straw on top of that, and then a tarp. Yeah, sometimes I'll do a tarp over that as well. So
they've got a couple burrows that they like to go into, and gotta pull them out in order to do some health checks on them. But I do have some Rubbermaid or Sterilite tubs that I use to do that, at least to bring them in and out. Yeah. That way they're not constantly being stressed.
You having to bring stuff in and out already, or you started that yet?
I have actually, yes. With the temperatures being in the mid 50s here, I brought in my Chinese box turtles and the Indian spotted turtles. They are officially indoors, so I can keep a better eye on them.
Okay.
Very cool.
How old are they?
The Chinese box turtles, if you guys want to see them, one of them was poking its head out.
Sure, let's take a look.
Yeah.
Flip that for you. Let's see, there we are.
Yeah, Patrick Lee said his stay outside all year in, I guess, northern New Jersey. They bury underneath their hides, pile leaves in the pens for insulation. So yeah, mine stay outside all year here in Indiana as well, Patrick. Oh, that's nice.
Oh yeah.
So they're looking about 4 inches, maybe?
Yes, I want to say they're about 100 and probably 60 grams now.
Okay.
Got another one over here.
They, just being honest with you, they can handle these temps outside perfectly fine at that size.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I haven't moved mine inside yet, and I've got hatchlings from Ray Farrell that are 2 inches, maybe not
Because
even that.
I thought about it. My biggest concern was in the enclosure that they're in. It's 10 by 24. I have
Finding
difficulty
them,
finding them
yeah,
sometimes, which
yep.
I know is a good thing. But if you're trying to do health checks on them,
Or to make sure that they're in a secure area for brumation, it's also very difficult. Yeah, I know what you mean.
exactly.
Yeah, no, you're playing it smart, and I always recommend people playing it smart. Um, let some fool like me screw around and figure out what works and what doesn't work because they're limited in what we can do inside. Um, but no, I think you're playing it smart, and you've got a good setup for them inside that 50-gallon Rubbermaid. That's a
Yep.
nice little setup for them. And how many do you have in there?
I have three. I have actually three of
Yeah.
each. So I have three Eastern Hermans. I have three Chinese box turtles, and then I have three Hamiltoni.
So is that your lucky number?
It just so happened I was actually
Yeah,
gifted the Hamiltoni, so
that's
I
fantastic.
didn't really have a choice with that one, but I'll
Oh
take
yeah.
it.
You know what? I was given 3 as well.
Yeah,
Hamiltoni. Yeah.
that's awesome.
We love
Um,
odd numbers.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what species are you looking at getting into? What are you most excited about getting into, or that you would like the most?
Honestly, there's a ton of them,
Oh,
but
give us the realistic one, and then give us the, like, mine's a Sylvatica, which is never gonna happen, but it's still my white whale. So give us those.
so I'll give you a three.
Okay.
So I would like to go with the Western Hermans. I would like to go with a specific locality, like a southern locality in Italy, because my
Apulia.
Herman's tortoise. I don't know entirely. That's definitely something I have to do my research
So
on.
like Apulia is on the Boot Hill.
Yep.
They stay pretty small. Yeah, they got a good contrast between colors.
Matthew,
Yeah.
you know your Western Herman's tortoises
I have
locales?
I have had Western Hermans.
Yeah.
I had actually your cousin Chris sent them to me. They I was unsuccessful for a number of years trying to get them to breed. Started with a pair and then a trio, and still nothing. I mean, I never even saw them breeding, so I never got any eggs. And when he sent them, he saw a decrease in his group's activity. The goal was not to have all the founders in one spot in case anything ever happened.
Yeah.
But splitting them up screwed it up, and neither of us were getting good eggs. So I was
Turtles
I
don't
have,
like change.
They don't.
there it
They
is.
don't. Yeah, that is one major reason captive bred is the way to go. These
Exactly.
hatchlings can rebound and can adjust so much better than anything we're going to get wild caught. There's just there's no comparison.
I want to go back to
They're
the Chinese.
fantastic.
Yeah, I want to go back to the Chinese boxes.
Yeah.
Are they aggressive towards each other? Are they like Eastern box turtles? I know they're not related at all, but let's just draw the comparison. You can only have one male. Do they fight with each other at all?
From what I've seen, yes. I mean,
Okay.
I had them in the same enclosure as hatchlings, and two of them have nipped tails, which it isn't terrible, but obviously that's something you want to try to avoid.
Yeah.
But right now, when I feed them, I do try to feed them as a group so I can kind of make sure that they're all eating. And what one will do if one grabs food, they'll tuck their head in their shell and they'll kind of lean their head down and their butt up and kind of press toward the other ones to kind of push them away.
Mm,
Kind of like a forceful push instead of like a
Yeah,
ram.
exactly. Yeah, it's just like something to say, get away from me. I'm eating.
That's cool. What do
But
they eat? What do you feed them?
they
yeah.
are omnivorous. So right now, I just actually bought some Missouri aquatic turtle food, and they really like that. Prior, I was feeding them Fluker's aquatic turtle food. I don't know the precise one, but since I have a tegu as well, who is omnivorous, I make a ground turkey mash with fruits and vegetables, leafy greens, and turkey as a meat source, and feed them that every so often. But delete bugs, insects, just about anything they can get their hands on, especially something that moves.
Yeah.
Cool.
So very similar to an Eastern box turtle.
Yeah. No, I've never had them. I remember seeing them when I was a kid. I haven't seen one ever at a reptile show or anything. I see them all the time, but I just don't have any local ones.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Tim Cordray has some of those.
So tell us about your Flavo enclosure there. Do you have any water feature in there? Do you have a misting system?
Let's go back to that.
How do you do it? How does Nick do it?
So this is a pretty simple setup. I have a whatever size flower pot doodad tray things for the hold water.
Yeah, like 12 or 14 inch.
Yeah, something like that. And that's about it. But once they go outside, they have a larger water feature. It is actually a cement mixing tub that they like.
Yep.
And some natural woods, obviously some grasses, but just a
And
big
what
plant.
substrate are you using? Or
I actually have it right here.
Oh, fantastic.
I recently set this up so everything's still inside. So we have a play sand and some topsoil. There it is. I love this mixture. I use this for a lot of my setups, including my tegu and my crested gecko and involving different stuff. And then we've got some decaying magnolia leaves and willow oak. Everybody's got different names for this: pinwheel oak, willow oak, whatever you want to call it.
Tom,
I'm about to do a crash course on the oaks of the Southeast soon. So I'll tell you in a month.
So next week. Yeah.
Yeah. And then somehow, somewhere in here, there are isopods.
Nice. So now, is that like a 50-50 mix?
I eyeballed it, to be honest with you.
More going for consistency.
Yeah, and you can see here.
Some slugs.
I was going to say we got some hitchhikers.
Yeah.
I find that my hingebacks love slugs.
Yeah. They have a hard time eating it, though.
Yeah. These guys will go after slugs.
Yeah. Oh, they're super cool.
So now, is that how you've raised them from the beginning, or did you do a more aquatic setup when they were younger?
I did a full aquatic when they were younger until I put them outside.
Okay. I was going to say they look really smooth, and you generally don't get that unless you do real aquatic when they're younger.
Yeah. Well, when I have these guys outside, my yard is mostly clay. Being in the south, it's all red clay down here. So I would go in and mix the enclosure with my my hose outside once in the morning, once when I got home at work, and once before I went to bed.
Okay.
So it was very tedious, but they enjoyed it. And same with the Herman's tortoises.
So per week, how long would you say their care and maintenance runs you? Like if somebody is looking for a trio of Chinese box turtles and they're going to start from a hatchling and they're raising them up, how much work do you put into them a week?
Honestly, not too much. I like to set these guys up pretty naturalistically. You got some enrichment for an aquatic setup. You can use certain types of driftwood like this, or even cork bark. You can use a plant like that to get them to be able to do natural movements like basking up on a log, hiding in the branches, or just swimming around, or even digging like they would in here. So I don't do too much with these guys aside from feed them and weigh them probably once a month.
That's absolutely the best. That's the best thing you can do.
Probably about yay big. Now being less than a year old to the size of my palm.
Yeah.
So these guys are
Doing it
quick growers.
aquatic, that's how you get them that smooth and that size that fast.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of doing aquatic with box turtles.
Yeah, I hope I have some baby three-toed box turtles, but I mean, quite
We'll get you
frankly,
there.
I'm really on the fence with that. I have to, I don't know. I have to think that I can do it non-aquatic and still get the same results. But we'll see.
Okay, Tom.
It's a challenge.
I'll tell you what. When you hatch some, I'll send you some of my hatchlings. You send me some of yours, or I'll drive and we'll meet and we'll swap, and then you can raise some of mine how you want. And I'll raise some of yours, and then we'll compare in a year.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it.
I think it'd be good to actually.
Everybody heard it. Yeah.
And Sam, they
really
also liked eating the isopods.
Yeah.
As soon as I put them in there, they were some big isopods. They were Parcelio dilatus, Giant Canyon, and Parcelio levi's dairy cow. They're just different variants of different localities, different species of isopods, but they're got about an inch big, and they went right after them as soon as they saw them moving.
The dairy cows aren't cheap, aren't they?
I used to breed them, and now I don't breed them anymore. I sold everything to kind of make some room for upgrades. But in my Tegu's enclosure, it's 8x4, so it's a rather large enclosure. I can just pull some of them from there since they've been breeding in there for the past 3 years.
Okay, I think Sam he breeds a bunch of isopods too.
But yes, they weren't cheap. I think 12 of them for $30.
It's crazy. And I would spend that. Isn't it crazy that we would spend that on bugs? Like when I was a kid, if I would have thought I'd spend $30 on 12 bugs when I get older, I would have never thought
I just spent $40 on 2.
What kind?
Millipedes.
Nice.
See, what kind of millipede?
It's a Tanzanian species, like something Ostrepus species number 1.
Okay, I'm familiar with that.
So Nick, you threw out a couple scientific names there. Have you studied biology or science?
Not legitimately.
Okay.
In high school, I took a college course for global environmental conservation through basically an Ivy League environmental school up in New York.
Cool.
Unfortunately, after that, nothing really happened with it. Didn't do too well in school studying, but I absorbed stuff pretty well. It's just sitting in the class and kind of twiddling my thumbs. I couldn't do it.
No, I hear you. Well, no, that's great. I love it. Obviously, you have a science background. I can tell.
I love it.
One of the things that I just, so many people say, how much should I feed my turtle? Or how do I know I'm feeding my turtle enough? Like, you weigh your turtle. That's what you do. You weigh it and you keep track of it. And I don't know why that's such a hard concept for people to understand. But if anybody's been a parent and you take home that baby from the hospital the first week, you're freaking out and you're weighing it all the time to make sure that baby is grown. So
yeah. But the tricky part is you don't want to do it too often.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you do it daily, you won't see growth and you'll get freaked out.
Oh yeah.
So like I said, I do it probably once a month, if not a little bit greater than that. I weighed my Eastern Herman's tortoises a little bit more frequently than that because I saw breeding behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the male mount one of the females, and I wanted to keep track of her for eggs, but I haven't seen any egg laying behavior. So
how old are your Hermans?
About 7.
Okay. Is that so? Did you get them as hatchlings, or you said just a year and a half?
I got them last year, probably about 5 years old.
Okay.
So I'm hoping for either next year or the year after that, whenever they're ready and of healthy weight. We don't want any issues.
Yeah. Now, were they captive bred or?
That is a question I don't know. I want to say they were farm bred, which is very vague, but they're of Slovenia locality. I don't know too
this
much about the localities.
is really interesting question. I follow a lot of these big European turtle farms that show they're like thousands of Herman's tortoises, and they show their like hundreds that they're boxing up and shipping all around the world. Then you see these just over 4-inch Herman's tortoises show up at Petco. So Matthew, what do you
Yeah.
know about this?
I wouldn't say they're farm bred. You have to think about it economically. There's very little. I mean, Hermans are not the fastest growing species out there.
No.
It takes them quite a while to get to 4 inches. So you're telling me that Petco is going to pay $35, $45, $50 for a captive bred 4-inch Herman's tortoise so that they can turn around and sell it for $200? It just doesn't make any sense. I wish I could say they.
But where are these European tortoise farms sending their tortoises?
Well, that's it. In the United States, we have the Lacey Act, which keeps us restricted to 4 inches. Other countries don't have that.
That's not the Lacey Act that does that.
So the ESA, the Lacey Act is the 4-inch law.
It's no, it's not. It is a federal. It's a Food and Drug Administration regulation that does that.
Oh,
yep.
I always thought it was part of the Lacey Act.
Nope.
That's why you see everybody at like expos or people's websites. This turtle and tortoise sold under 4 inches is for educational purposes, exhibit purposes, yada yada.
That'll only get you so far, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's a loop around for that.
The Lacey Act, can help regulate interstate trade in tortoises under 4 inches.
Well, regardless, we've got a 4-inch law in the United States, and that kind of restricts a lot of species from coming in that could be farmed because they would have to wait until they reach 4 inches to ship them in. Being pragmatic, I do not see anyone investing in the amount of time and money it takes to raise a tortoise to that size to ship over at what you would see wild caught prices at.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I agree. I think these tortoises that we're seeing from Petco are most likely raised on the European farms. Why would they be able to get such consistent size animals? It just doesn't make any sense
from the
to me.
wild when they'll pluck them from the wild and either wait until they hit 4 inches or they're already at 4 inches.
Why don't we see ones with battle scars on their shells, or older ones a little bigger? And like every one of these things I see in a Petco or PetSmart, I go in, they're about the same size. They don't show any sign of damage or anything like that.
Because when you get on Reptiles by Mac or Strictly Reptiles, they have two different prices. One for the imperfect and one for the perfect. The imperfects, which there are, and Tom, I'm not kidding, Reptiles by Mac has imperfect Holmes Hingebacks for $12 right now.
And so that is
that they had that. That's what the price was listed.
Like that's over.
I don't think they have any more right now. But yeah, $12 for an imperfect.
That's between you and me.
So you're going to see a lot of them. You're not going to see Petco buy those. You're not going to see PetSmart buy those ones. Sure. But I would say, what's that, Nick? You see them in there?
I used to work at a PetSmart.
So you know they're getting them from Reptiles by Mac or Strictly or.
I think they used to do Cal Zoo, to be honest with you. Yeah, based out of California.
Yeah. Well, and so different stores will acquire them from different distributors depending on where they are. Yeah, a big one out there. So yeah, I've yet to be convinced of the financial feasibility of a turtle or tortoise farm shipping.
Unless you're breeding like Galapagos.
That or, certain species, yes. You can get sliders to 4 inches in, I think, a matter of months, depending on how you feed them. There are species, I think, that can be grown very rapidly and would do well in farms. Russ just posted that video of the soft shells. Those absolutely do exist. The issue with getting things like that imported into the United States from a farm bred source, they have to wait for, until they get to 4 inches. And I do not see them doing that. I don't see it making financial sense when they can ship it to other countries at under 4 inches.
I know a big exportation is China, obviously, for turtles and tortoises, because they're really relaxed on their laws. And I think most of them go through Hong Kong. I could be wrong with that, but I'm fairly certain.
It's one of the major hubs that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to show you some photos, Matthew, when I see them again, and
I've seen them. I mean, I've seen a lot of them,
and just ask for your interpretation of what you are seeing. I forget the name of the farm that I follow that just sends out like dozens, hundreds of Hermans.
Yeah. Those places are only sending out the photos that are flattering to them, though.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I'm looking at the CITES database right now. I pulled it up. And Herman's tortoises. Let's see. I need to find importer US. What I think is interesting is that you didn't see Herman's tortoises all that much until relatively recently. Why do you think that is? Like, as far as these Herman's tortoises being sold at pet stores?
I think because their go-to, which was the Russian, is declining in the wild, and they're not getting as many wild caught as they used to, so they're having to switch. That said, I'm more supportive of the Hermans than I am the Russians, strictly because we've got better relations with the countries that Hermans come out of, where they can be better regulated, so that we know that their wild populations aren't completely getting demolished like we know they are with the the Horsfield, the Russian.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. If when you look at the CITES database, 98%, I would say, of the Herman's tortoises traded across the world have a C code, and that means captive bred. So
interesting.
It's we know that people just different countries certify their CITES paperwork and just lie. We know that is happening, and that's
happened in the Ukraine a lot before. Well,
yeah, exactly.
99 to 2006, I think. At least they were the largest exporter of captive bred Russians in the world.
Yeah.
Overnight.
Like, yeah, in just 1 year, they that's amazing. They did
4-inch captive bred Russians, and they just overnight had them all. It was crazy.
Now the Russian tortoises I get because they're smaller, and for some reason, all the animals are males. Patrick says 15 years ago, the chain stores had Greek tortoises. Now it's Hermans and Redfoots. I still see plenty of Russians. Russians and Redfoots.
See, I managed a pet store a while back, and we had Redfoots in every so often. We had a handful of Russians, but I'd never seen Hermans or Greek or it was always Redfoot, sulcatas, or your Russian tortoises.
Yeah, I just for whatever reason, the past 2 years, Herman's tortoises have really become more popular than the Russian, and I think we've talked about many of those reasons. So. Well, let's go on to your last species that you keep, the Indian spotted turtle. Also, what we turtle nerds call the Hamiltoni. Tell us about that species and how you got to work with it.
So I was actually gifted these guys since they are a CITES species, Appendix 1, so they cannot be sold across state lines. However, they can be donated. There just can't be any monetary value attributed to them.
Yep, they're CITES 1 and Endangered Species Act species. So not many people have these. if you don't live in Florida,
Yeah.
I am actually one of 2, if not potentially 3 people to have them in North Carolina.
okay.
Nice.
So it is a dream to be able to work with these guys.
Yeah.
So they're what's their closest relative? What are they related to?
I knew this one.
I don't know
Well,
scientifically, but they're
where's
a lot
Michael
like a
Fatu
snapping
Goswami?
turtle. Yeah, where is Michael?
Um,
That or little musk
I
turtles.
stumped everyone here.
I've got my other phone on me. Let me.
What Geo Clemmies. So they're in the
Yep,
Geo.
Geoclemys hamiltoni.
I don't think there's not many, if any, other species in Geo.
No,
Yeah,
they're
no,
they're
it's
not
it.
a monotypic species or a genus rather.
They are
Yeah.
Geo Clemmies. Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah, wow.
So there really
But what
isn't.
is their closest relative?
There is nothing all that related. I mean, they're in the Their subfamily is the Geomydenae. So those are Batagur, Cora, Cyclemes. So really fascinating. So they're unique. Does that play out in their care and keeping them?
I don't think so, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm familiar with a handful of species, but taking care of uh, only a few species here. But these are the setups. Like I said earlier with my Chinese box turtles, fake plant some driftwood so they can bask, and they do bask. They absolutely love it. I'll have all 3 of them up on these logs under their basking light, and as soon as I come in, this one will hide, but these 2 will typically stay out if I'm quiet.
Interesting. Do they how do they swim? Are they fully aquatic? Are they good swimmers, or do they like to hang out better in shallow water?
So I have a 125-gallon uh, plastic prefab pond outside,
Okay.
and it's probably maybe 2.5 feet deep, and I'll always find them out on the bottom. The
Okay.
wood that I have in there, I'll find them basking in it during the sunny days. So they are fully adapted to both swim. I mean, look at their feet right here. For those, I don't want to say flippers because they're not flippers,
Yeah.
but
Webbed feet.
they got some really nice webbed feet. But you might be able to tell they've also got some really nice claws, so they're fully adapted to, crossing marshes and crossing across land and just doing their thing on land as well.
Okay. Um, Dylan says the closest is probably Melanocalyes, the Indian black turtle, which would make sense that an Indian species is closely related to it. Any idea what those spots do for the turtle, or is there any speculation?
So typically these guys will be found in, like I said, marshes earlier.
Uh huh.
So if you're ever looking at, streams or rivers or shallow bodies of water, you'll see dappled sunlight, little spots
Okay.
of white light on leaves in the bottom of the streams or whatnot. So I would assume that especially with the black or in this case green because of the algae, the spots help them blend in a lot better.
Yeah, makes sense. Kind of like Shamu.
Exactly.
I used to work at SeaWorld.
Did you really?
Yes, back in
That's
the
pretty
day
cool.
when there was a SeaWorld in Ohio. I kept the children safe. Matthew, you
Yes,
keep
sir.
these?
I do. Mine are younger than that though. They
Okay.
grow slow.
I don't know how old these guys are though, unfortunately. When I received them, I didn't get too much information on them. I didn't get who actually gave them to my friend. All I knew that he wanted to give them to me so someone else in North Carolina could have them that way. If something did happen to his collection or these animals in particular, there would be an assurance colony essentially.
Matthew, can you tell us a little bit about the backstory of this species in the United States?
They were not produced at all for decades, or I don't know exactly when they first came in, but a lot of people didn't have any success with them. There were a few people. Wayne Hill is kind of the um, guy everyone thinks of or goes to. He wasn't the first to breed them. There were a couple guys before him down in Florida, but um, he's by far been, I think, the most successful as far as numbers produced and then getting them out to other people. He's donated a ton um, to the TTPG through the Chelonia Propagation Program. But yeah, if it wasn't for Wayne Hill, we wouldn't be seeing them like we do at all.
Who is it? I think Joel Garcia. I know
Joel,
he donated a bunch of them.
yeah. So Joel, it looks like
Joel.
Joel, but you pronounce it Joel.
Okay.
Joel is Wayne Hill's kind of right hand man.
Oh, okay, that's where it's at.
He works for Wayne.
They are really cool. I mean, when you see that head just kind of poke up out of the water and see those spots, that
Yeah,
is
I
really
love
cool.
it.
Oh,
There are some that are high white that are just
yeah, they're really interesting.
crazy. Yeah.
I know someone in Florida has a high white one that he's selling for like 1,400, I think.
What?
Yeah, it's insane. It's beautiful though. I don't know if I'd pay 1,400 for it.
You're gonna have to justify that.
Yeah.
And these guys are quite fecund, right? I mean, they must lay a ton of eggs.
Once they're dialed in, that's my understanding. They do really well. I don't know a ton of people that are having a ton of success with them outside of Wayne, but I mean the market's there. I think we follow the people who are having success. We follow their guidance on how to do it. There's no reason. What is running in the tank behind you? Or I guess is it a fish, Tom?
Oh, me? Oh, yeah, yeah. It's
Okay.
I have cribs
Starting right across back.
Well, I have
ADD.
Yeah, no, I have. There's some dither fish, what they call dither fish. There's a shiner from the Cuyahoga River and some rosy reds. But now I have 4 crebensis in there, the dwarf West African species
Sam,
cichlid.
I did too. I thought it was a mouse running from a snake.
That's hilarious. We are no snake household.
We are too,
and no mice household. So
mine, my wife would let us have. My kids had mice. She won't let me have a snake.
That's awesome.
I'm not upset about it at all.
Well, Nick, what's in the future for you?
Yeah.
I would love to work with more North American species, particularly here in North Carolina. But North Carolina has huge restrictions on their native turtles and tortoises.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why I moved down here is to be able to work with the eastern box turtle, the Blandings turtle, the spotted turtle, North American spotted turtle, since they were protected up in New York via the DEC, which is the Department of Environmental Conservation. They're basically FWC of New York. But come to find out here, after doing a ton of research and talking with the state herpetologists and whatnot, I can't keep them. I think it's the Amididae family, which is that's the tricky part. So you can't have any of the spotted turtles. You can't have any of the Blandings turtle because they're super protected. But you can have up to 5 box turtles, eastern box turtles, without requiring a permit. But you would need I think it's a wildlife collection permit. I think I've actually got all this in my phone. But
wildlife, I just Googled it quick. A wildlife collection license is needed for the take possession or transportation of 5 or more snapping turtles, lizards, or snakes on an annual basis. For reptiles that are endangered, threatened, or species of special concern, and endangered species permit is required. That was the first thing I came to.
Yep.
Okay.
And so I have a friend, that the same friend who gave me the Indian spotted turtle. He is a licensed rehabber in North Carolina. So I wouldn't just go out and grab them. I would work with him and do stuff that need to be
Yeah.
rehabilitated, because I've got not a huge yard, but it's about an acre lot and nice,
nice.
wooded pine needle area that I've been working on to do some stuff with, and they would be perfect out there.
Yeah.
But since I can't
Looks
really
like-
work with them, I would like to go North American wood turtle.
Yeah,
They're great.
Those aren't
Ultimate,
down in North Carolina, right? They
they
don't.
are not actually, no. I think
Yeah.
they stop at the northern part of Virginia, or maybe the
Yep.
mid-western part of Virginia.
I didn't realize Blandings went down that low.
I didn't either. But we got them out by the coast. Same with the diamondback terrapins, which was another
Yeah.
species that I wanted to work with, but you can't have them.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. See, we're lucky in Ohio. We have a pretty good set of laws. The kind of the big time herpetologists that had a lot of these species, they developed a system and they wanted to continue to keep their reptiles. And
Yeah.
so as long as we pit tag animals above 4 inches, I can have Blandings turtles, I can have spotted turtles.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I don't have them though,
Same.
but I could.
Same with Indiana, but I do
So-
have them.
Come
The
to Ohio,
permits
Nick.
and laws are perfect. They help, poaching and whatnot.
Sure.
They also restrict conservation. Supposedly, with what they're doing with the eastern box turtles, there are a lot of conservation efforts for them here in North Carolina, but
Sure.
they don't really need it. I mean, they're not they're not endangered, they're not threatened, especially not here in North Carolina. But
Oh, that's great.
I don't know if they're the state reptile.
I think they
that might be
are.
I think so.
Them in Tennessee. There's Eastern has 2 states.
Yes.
I think Three-Toe may have 2 as well. I'm not sure.
Boy.
But
There,
going back,
it looks like the populations of. I'm sorry, Nick. The
No, you're fine.
populations. There's like these maybe remnant populations in like I don't know, Eastern North Carolina, maybe. But that's surprising.
of the box turtles.
Blanding?
No, of the Blanding. Sorry, Blanding.
Yeah. Very,
That's-
very northern Eastern Carolina, North
That's-
Carolina.
That's really weird. I did not realize they got that far south on the coast.
Me either.
Wow. Those are really disjunct.
Yeah.
Those have to be some really special genetics in that
Oh,
population.
we've
They're
got
so strong.
sand hills, I think is the technical term for that geographic location. But I mean, it's perfect for them over there. Lots of swamps and sand marshes.
Nice.
Cool.
Just
So you'd
surprised
like
it
to
gets
work
cold
with
enough.
some more natives, but you do have to get a permit or license to work with some.
And it's very restricting. I have to also apply for an educational permit in order to keep them. And in order to apply for an educational permit, you have to have a physical location and you have to do events.
Oh, okay.
What do they mean by
there's
physical
another thing,
location?
like a house per se, but you have to have a name, a company. You have to do events in person, and you have to give them a layout of what you basically plan to talk about, which isn't an issue. But my biggest thing wasn't necessarily doing events, doing educational via like videos or YouTube or Instagram, stuff like that. Stuff where I can kind of keep my house private and my life
Right.
private, but still being able to, help educate and get the information out there.
Really makes me realize how blessed I am living in Indiana. I mean, our permit process is not difficult. There's no reason anyone in Indiana shouldn't have a permit if they have something. It's that simple.
And we don't even have permits. We just have licenses. So, permits have to be approved. Licenses are just something you buy and follow the rules.
Yeah.
So it's pretty lax.
I have to send in my registration for my Tegu since he's banned here in North Carolina. Which isn't an
Really?
issue. It's a yearly thing. But I mean, it's only $10, but if something were to happen, they now have my address and this and that, which I don't know. I just don't want someone showing up out of the blue.
Podrick, here, I'm going to feature this. Now, Podrick is saying they are everywhere here, Sam. There are 5 adults in my 4-block neighborhood. So that's Tegus?
I
Holy
hope
moly.
not.
Podrick,
I'm
is
gonna,
that Tegus?
yeah, let us know, Podrick, if that's Tegus.
I hope that's
I
Blandings
thought
or
he was saying
something.
Eastern Box Turtles.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought it was Eastern Box
Okay,
Turtles.
yeah, that's more likely. I was gonna say I'm gonna be in Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, and am I gonna see Tegus running?
Eastern Box Turtles, yeah,
Okay.
Eastern Box Turtles.
Yeah. So Podrick has all the Eastern Box Turtles on his in his neighborhood scoped out. Probably has pit tags in those things. You can just see him out there with a dipole antenna.
Yeah.
Finding them. So
Since
go ahead.
go ahead. Since I can't really work with them, I do my best efforts to at least help them cross the road.
Yeah.
For sure.
I use a herp mapper, which is a conservation tool. You upload a photo, the location, description of it, and it helps you keep track, and it sends it to some sort of herpetologist. I don't know if it's Skate or whoever runs that app, but it's pretty awesome.
Hopefully
I've
it's not
heard
a
of
group
this.
poachers.
Yeah.
That'd be
No,
a
I
great
think
ploy for.
But it's this herp mapper. The difference between it and iNaturalist, Matthew, is
That's
what
what
you're
I.
talking
That's what I get on.
about.
Oh yeah, and
I use that one as
used,
well.
and it's used by
But
poachers.
I don't think herp mapper. I think you report, but it doesn't. You can't just go mine it for
like you can
on
on.
iNaturalist.
Okay.
And I'm guessing that's why it exists. Oh,
That makes sense.
I have a pending records for on herp mapper since 8/27. So if someone can go out to that location that I posted after almost 2 months, more power to them.
the most recent
That may
observation is from Marion County, Indiana, of a Pantherophis obsoletus black
That's my
red snake
county.
complex.
That's my
So,
county.
do you know a guy named Douglas Stemke?
There's more than a few people in Indiana. We're not a big state, but there's more than a few. You know, we're that cornfield between Chicago and Cincinnati.
Yeah, with a nice bit of oak forest in the southern third.
But you know what? Like Sam said, the state chemist of Indiana is super easy when it comes to pest control. It's Hoosier hospitality.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we're known for.
I strongly considered going to the Indiana University for graduate school.
It's a good
school.
My wife would say Purdue's better, but
yeah. I went to the Miami University, which, I had like 5-minute drive to Indiana. So I went over there a few times, didn't see much, and came back. So, well, if you could pick one species to work with, what would it be, Nick? We're putting you on the spot. Got to pick one. You're gonna get it. Nope, got to pick one.
Okay, so
then maybe we'll ask you for your second.
It's a toss up. So there's specific reasons. Obviously, one of them is the radiated tortoise.
Okay, Matthew just got one today.
Another ESA species, fantastic, absolutely gorgeous. Conservation efforts, they're fantastic. But I wouldn't be able to keep them outdoors for all year, but the majority of their year. So that was kind of on the fence about that one. But if I was gifted one,
they don't
more than
get
happy.
huge though. They don't get huge,
exactly. And
That's awesome.
on the other side of that spectrum, another non-native but fantastic species is the Menorrhea emys, the Burmese mountain tortoise.
Yeah, they're cool.
Farai and emys.
Yeah. Emys is the species I was interested in since they stay a little bit smaller, and from what I understand, they're a little more cold hardy.
So they actually say the Farai, they say those are the Burmese black are supposed to be a little bit more cold hardy. They exist in a little higher elevations.
Yeah,
that said, I have brown mountains, and they're very cold hardy. I mean, I'm not bringing mine in, and it's 50 degrees. It was 48 one night a little bit ago, and they stay outside.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
They're a great tortoise. They're absolutely one of my favorites. They're hands down just so smart.
They don't get huge.
They don't get huge. I mean, Impressa stay smaller than Emmys, but Impressa are extraordinarily difficult to even find. But yeah, the Brown Mountains, I can't recommend them enough. They're such a phenomenal tortoise.
I know we talked about them quite a little bit.
Yeah, I was looking through. Yeah, they're great. I would recommend them to anybody.
Well, gentlemen, I want to play a game. I want to involve our members of the chat, and here's the game. We are going to try to see how many species we can list that Matthew Hills owns, and see just how many in a row we can get that he owns. So, people in the chat, just start putting species in the chat, and then we'll ask Matthew. Matthew, do you keep that species? And we'll see how far we can get there. So
go for it.
We're there's a little bit of delay, so
Yes,
it'll probably
Sam.
take a little bit for things to come in. But Sam,
scientific names only.
I did not go to the Apulia Western Hermans. Sam says, Matthew.
No, I had Varus.
Oh, Varus. So, yeah, you don't have to know this. Say the scientific. And Sam, I went to Miami University, not the University of Miami. So that's all. You just need to look that up. And Garth Brooks is not a turtle.
He's not, but he is a serial killer.
Podrick, yes, of course it would be easier to list what he doesn't have. Yes, that would be easy. Like green sea turtles.
No, but I did. So we're going to Hawaii. Maybe I'll sneak one home. No, we're going to Hawaii.
Hawksbill?
October 5th. Yeah, and actually we were married on the beach, the same beach Magnum PI house is on, and that morning when we were getting married, as soon as we were done, when we were getting pictures taken, I look out 20 yards out into the ocean. There's a hawksbill come right up. It was pretty freaking cool.
That's
and
amazing.
Then the last time we went to Hawaii, my 12-year-old and I went and swam with them on the beach, which was really cool. They were just eating the algae. I mean, they were just like we weren't even there. Had no care whatsoever. So.
Okay, nobody's playing, so I'm going to change the rules.
Yeah,
Matthew,
guys.
I'm going to say the name of a turtle, and you have to tell me if you have it or had it.
Okay.
Spotted.
Both.
Which one?
Yes.
Clemmies.
Yes.
Clemmies Guttata?
No, if you say have it or had it.
Have it.
Blandings turtle.
Have it.
North American wood?
Yeah.
Have it.
Yeah. Bell's hingeback.
No. I don't have the McCorda either, Sam.
McCords.
I will.
Ooh.
Especially if I keep having... friends of mine have been having some success with them, so...
Cora Pictorata.
No, I was really close to getting some last year, though.
Fly river turtle.
Franz?
Yes.
It's fly river turtle.
Fly river, yeah.
Yes.
Looking to trade, actually.
Radiated tortoise.
Yes. Have.
Woo. Western painted turtle.
Have.
European pond turtle.
Have. No, had. Sorry,
okay.
Had.
Western pond turtle.
No. Haven't had.
Florida box.
What's that?
Florida box turtle.
Yes. Have those.
Sulcata, African spurthie.
I've had African spurthie.
Big heads.
No, never had big heads.
Those are sweet.
Yeah, they really are.
Musk turtle.
Which kind?
Stink pot.
Currently have. I just got a
Painted.
really cool. I just
Go
got
ahead.
6, and these are a micro locale
What's that?
from Florida.
Oh, you got the
stink
little
pots.
baby ones.
Oh yeah, I mean they're sexable and they're like this big. I can't believe it. I've never seen anything like. I had to buy them.
Patrick
Luckily.
says Greeks.
Yep, I have Greeks, Iberia. I've had
Yep.
Mesopotamian. I've had, I believe, Greca, but not very long.
Patrick says the Amazon red-breasted turtle, which I have no idea what that is.
I've had the pink-bellied side neck.
Are those Australian or South American?
I don't think that exists, Patrick. There's the red-headed Amazon river turtle.
Yeah, the redheaded.
I don't think there's
It's
a red-breasted.
I don't even know.
Oh, but the
species
Rio Grande cooter.
I currently have one.
What about
How about-
Maremi's? Reef turtles?
I have some Japanese reeves. I had a Chinese. I had a female Chinese, couldn't find a male, so I gave the female away and then ended up having a male come in, which is how
That's
it goes.
awesome.
But, don't have the Chinese anymore. Still have the Japanese. And my buddy Anthony is going to be sending me some should-be females. So I'll be raising some. The Japanese are a little bit bigger and they're like jet black. It's really, really cool. They have Batman eyes. It's like the bat signal, their iris. Then I've got Anamorensis, Marimis Anamorensis, and then some Kwangtung, and then a Kwangtung hybrid from Michael Thatzmanwali. Trying to think if I have any others. No, but I would really love to get a Japanese wood turtle. I really dig that kind of a green color they've got.
Is that the Aphenis or Orniensis?
Japonica.
Maremi's
Japonica.
Yeah.
Maremi.
That
Okay.
that turtle is the bomb.
I like
Please, someone send me one of those. I'll say yes.
it. A Japanese wood turtle?
Yeah. No. Oh, yes. Yeah. Maremi's
Or-
Japonica. I love them.
Or the Japanese black breast, the Ruku
Well, I
Island.
want that too, but that is really what I meant. That's what I got it confused with Geomida Japonica. But
Yeah,
I do.
Geomida.
I want to work with Maremi's Japonica, the Japanese wood turtle. They look
Yeah.
super cool.
They
You can't
really
have
do.
them all though. You
I
can't.
know
have
Michael works with them, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
I can't pronounce his last name, but
Michael
I know he's big.
Swami
That's
has
the who.
Japanese woods.
Yep.
He has little babies, or he's not. He doesn't produce those.
I think he has adults.
Interesting.
I don't know if he's on there.
Well, yeah. If someone wants to send me a
yeah, I do have
Geomida
Diamondbacks.
Japonica, I will accept. Thank you.
I sent mine to Cameron. So
What's that little turtle Chris has that has the big Google eyes?
I think he's talking about Otis, Eastern box turtle.
No, he's
Yep.
talking about
I have Eastern Bob.
Geomida. He's talking about Spanglera.
Spangler Eye.
Oh,
Oh,
Spangler.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I breed Spangler Eye.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, they're great.
Leaf
They're-
turtles. I think leaf turtles are the next big thing, man, because
Definitely.
nobody has them, and they seem to have really shut down their imports. So
I knew someone messaged me.
I mean,
about
Cyclemies,
a pair of
that's
them
what
for
I-
like $4,000.
Cyclemies for sure. Yeah, the prices have gone insane on them.
But I think they were adults though, so that kind of changes
Even-
things.
So,
but that's
Yeah,
You
so
can go-
insane.
you can go back and watch the video that Anthony. I did a video with Anthony about Geomida Spangler Eye, and basically a bunch were imported illegally,
Yeah.
and that's what happened. So yeah, cool.
Sam said Geomida Spangler Eye is the gateway species that everyone wants. I guess I
Except
said
me.
that to him
No,
the
thank
first
you.
time
No, I
spoke
don't
to
need
him.
one of those.
They
Yeah.
are. They're gate kept. There's a lot of people that will
I think
breed
they're
them and
ugly, weird
They are.
looking,
They are. It's,
I mean,
Goofy
that's-
looking.
but ugly turtle.
I honestly,
From
I-
Weather Reptiles, I want to come back as Matthew Hales in my next life. So, Bottom line, guys, why are we
say
doing
that.
this? Matthew knows his turtles. He has kept so many different species. And Matthew, we are so glad that you can join us each Thursday to talk turtles.
Yeah.
Dylan says there were some some platysternids
Platysternids.
smuggled in as well. So anybody want to send me those captive bred babies? I'll take those too. I'd love to work with big-headed turtles. Had them in my local pet store for like $60. Tanks of 30 of them all in there. So well, Nick,
there may have been a large shipment of Homopus come in.
Yeah, you told me about
I don't
that.
know. No,
we're not talking about
this is
that
a different
though.
one. No, this is a different one. I don't know who this is. But
we'll see.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, thank you much. Matthew, next week, who are we going to talk to? Who are we going to talk to next week?
That's gorgeous.
We are working on the man, the myth, the legend.
Russ Gurley himself.
Russ Gurley, author, artist.
He has
turtle
confirmed twice. So we'll see.
Everyone, thank you. Nick, it was a wonderful time getting to know you. I really appreciate you volunteering to come on tonight. And you just let us know when you want to come back if you get some new turtles or have any questions for us. Oh, got the grow tent.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Been a pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't have to put anything else. They'll stay in that all by itself.
Oh yeah,
that's really cool. I've wondered if turtles or tortoises would.
People are using it. I mean,
I've seen them use it. I just didn't know if I needed to put anything, at the bottom. Some wood.
I mean, you could build like a little wooden insert, and then put that up around it. If
for sure, a lot of people do that because you can kind of see here that he likes to scratch at this stuff. But he's got 2 tarps down at the bottom of it, so he can't.
Awesome.
He can't get out, even with these raptor talons.
Now, is this an Argentinian tegu?
Yes. So it was thought of to be a subspecies of black and white, which is Argentinian black and white, Salvatore Marinay, but he is just a smaller black and white, essentially.
The when I was a kid, tegus were just mean, but those were the Colombians. I'm understanding. That's about all I know about.
Colombians and possibly golds. Golds are a lot smaller, but they're also typically wild caught and they're grumpy.
That is a cool lizard. Wow.
I can't believe they're just white like that.
This is the after show.
Yeah.
I wanted to enter the after show. This is bonus time. What do you feed him?
So he'll eat just about anything. Like I said earlier, he's an omnivore. So he's the main reason why I make the turkey mash, fruits and veggies. Let's see if we can get him to do it. But he's got sharp teeth up front, but he's got almost like molars in the back. So he can grind up just about whatever from mice, chicks, eggs, ground turkey, fruits, veggies.
Yeah. Like I've heard people are saying maybe they eat mostly fruit in the wild. Crazy.
So certain species will, like the Argentine red tegu or the Paraguayan red tegu.
Oh, interesting.
They are mostly fruit eaters. But this guy's an omnivore. He'll eat just about anything. He's my garbage disposal for food that the turtles won't eat.
Oh, really? I need to get one of those.
Very cool. Matthew. No, stick with turtles, Matthew.
Oh, I'm a one-hit wonder. I don't stray outside of Colonians.
I like to dabble in
whatever
them all. Interests me.
Yeah, I like them all. I just know if I open that wormhole, there's probably no going back.
Yeah.
I will be getting a chameleon here in a couple months when I'm back from the southeast. A Honelli, the helmeted chameleon from Kenya.
I like it.
Ooh.
From my buddy Sean.
Oh yeah.
Who
is he on tonight?
Yeah. I didn't see him. He had jury duty yesterday.
Yeah. You know, they don't
Drew
send those certified
has a
mail.
leopard
You don't have to
gecko,
show
so
up.
for low maintenance. So, hey man, each minute is more watch time. So I'm tempted to keep this just going and going. You know,
Fun
guys.
fact about these guys,
Yeah,
real quick.
go for it.
If
Yeah.
you're familiar with other lizards, specifically varanids or monitor lizards, and snakes, how they have their forked tongue.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I
Yeah.
think, only like 3 genuses of lizards that have the forked tongue: monitor lizards, tegus, and I think there's another one that I can't think of. I don't know if it's Gila monsters or that beaded lizard family, but similar to snakes, they've got a Jacobson's organ that they use their forked tongue for. These guys are kind of special.
That's crazy.
Super cool.
How fast are they?
He is super fast.
Yeah.
But before the ban, I would take him outside. I have to take him outside on a harness now, a harness and leash, in order for him to be legal and obviously not get away from me. But he can run pretty quick, and if he wanted to, he can be up in a tree in a jiffy.
Wow.
Now, what's the ideal setup for one like that?
Well, his enclosure is 8x4.
8x4. And are they arboreal at all?
When they're younger, yes, but as they get older, they're kind of clumsy. So the way I have his setup is these lights are on a pulley system, so I can lower and raise it based on what temperature he needs instead of raising this high up. Because if he were to fall off, he could hurt. He could break a toe. He could hurt himself.
Sure. And if they're clumsy.
Yeah, he's pretty clumsy, especially when he's chilly. And he tries to get up on this, sometimes he'll roll off. So
that brings me to another question. What are their temperature requirements?
His basking, especially during the summertime, he's starting to cool down now. He is also a species that'll go into brumation, like we covered earlier, which is pretty cool. So he was my my first go around with brumation. His basking spot's about 130.
Wow.
They can drop their tails.
Hot. They can drop their tails and they will regrow.
Oh, really? That's amazing. Why can't turtles do that? I wish turtles could regrow a limb.
I wish I could regrow a limb. Holy crap. That'd be so useful.
If anyone has, I don't know if anyone's been able to see the new Matt Patterson book, but I just got it today and I'm excited to read it. It's going to be my trip to Hawaii book.
But I'm thinking we should spend the next hour. You could read it out loud. Ryan and I are talking about having like a marathon where we go like 24 hours and try to raise money. But seriously,
that was on
the
last one. That was like on the last one, wasn't it? You guys talked about the marathon.
Yeah. It's been so long since we recorded anything.
Hey, Anthony Leone had a
2 weeks in a row.
This week. Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, Anthony has some time apparently. Kids are back in school
for a year. That's I didn't even think about that.
And he works from home now, so
yeah,
there's that too.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. If I had a nice big group of Redfoots, or even like a group of Redfoots, like 2 or 3, I would definitely look into that.
Yeah.
This is perfect. And you can get them even bigger than these. I mean, I think one of the larger ones, like 10x10, which is massive. I mean, that's bigger than this room I'm in right now.
And I really should look to see what's the dimensions of that one? 8 feet?
This one's 8x4 by 71.
I have this weird space that's like 7.5 feet wide. But I could move a Homiana group into that type of enclosure. I think would work. I probably would put up some kind of plywood substructure in it with walls, so they're just not constantly banging into the walls. and breaking the zipper or something like that. But Rum Weather Reptile says, yeah, I hear he posts up in that new greenhouse.
And that's a nice greenhouse that he's got.
Yeah. I wonder if he has filtration in there or if he's just using plants. That's one question I've been meaning to ask him. So
I think he's still using just plants and water changes.
yeah, no, that works. So okay, guys, gentlemen, thank you. Everyone,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you on the chat. Please share. We're trying to grow the channel.
Yeah.
Our goal is
that like
to
button.
get a professional license of Restream so we can restream in HD. So
Yeah.
I am about 25 people short of 4,000. 4,000.
Wowzers.
I've added about 3,000 subscribers in the past year. So don't you want to see Matthew and I and our guest in clear HD? Please,
I don't know. It's
help spread the word. The goal here is for this
wanna
to
break the
be,
cameras.
the community for turtle care. That's what we're really focusing here on this live, inviting people to take us into their collections, share their successes, and ask
How
ask
they're
for
doing
tips, how they're doing it,
Yep.
why they're doing it, and no, that's awesome,
Because
Sam. I really appreciate it.
What works in Arizona doesn't work in Ohio.
Yeah.
What works in Washington State doesn't work in
Yep.
North Carolina. We the more we can expand and reach out and discuss, the more knowledgeable we can become and the better keepers we can become.
Absolutely, and we don't all have the same resources either.
Yep.
And if you have 100 turtles versus one, it's a big difference in how you might care for things. So, hey, we really appreciate you sharing. We do want to become the place to come hang out with other turtle and tortoise owners and lovers and talk about care. So, Nick, thank you much. Matthew, thank you much.
Yes, sir.
Chat,
It's been a blast.
thank you much. We'll see you next week. Russ Gurley. Thanks, everyone.